Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video I actually wanted to give some props to Kabam, and this is one of those things where we kind of got talking in one of my arena grind streams, and kind of came to a realization that overall the game is in a healthier place than it was like half a year ago, and that Kabam has been racking some fairly significant W's lately. And you guys know me, or at least I hope you do if you are a regular viewer. And I try to be as fair and balanced in my commentary and critiques as I see them fit. Obviously, I don't get everything right. Obviously, there is a certain, portion of my viewer base or people in the community who think I just like to complain for the sake of complaining and so on and so forth. But I always have found it also extremely important to acknowledge the things and the ones that they do right and when they go well. Because it's easy to spot when something's not working. It's easy to spot when something goes wrong. But it takes, a lot more of an effort to actually take a step back and analyze, the game or the overall quality of the work. And Kabam in particular obviously has always had issues with some bugs and things going wrong, and we meme them. And there's this kind of running joke that every single update we're basically going bug hunting because the side events are bugged and many of the new champions are bugged. But let's just break it down like bit by bit about stuff that has happened recently. So let's start with the most recent one. Cyber Weekend offers, I think they handled well. I think the offers were fair. They didn't completely overshadow Necropolis launch. And for the very, very first time in ages, we actually have a title that you could earn before you could buy it. And that was huge. And, compared to the devastating impact July 4th sales had on the community and the mood in the community, this event went down much better. Yeah, of course, there were some people who expected better offers specifically, but I think there were far more people who felt relieved that they're not going to get completely stomped on in every aspect of the game if they can't buy everything that Kabam has to offer. And I think that's a huge W, at least from the community standpoint, because I always characterize these big sales as Kabam tearing a huge gap and a huge slash in the fabric of community. And then it's their job to kind of patch it up until the next sales days by updating the stores, releasing content, and kind of allowing free to play players or low spenders to kind of catch up or be at the very least in the same kind of like conversation. And that they have significantly less of a job to do so at the moment than they did after July 4th sales. Obviously, I don't want to jinx it because we're going to have to see what's going to happen with the banquet event. But I do hope that, it's also reasonable. And we need to acknowledge the fact that they seem to have taken some of our feedback to heart. Because it would have been super easy for them to add in like another 2 or 3 rank 3 materials and, way more rank up shot and everything else. They didn't do that. They're kind of restraining themselves. We didn't see the 7-star 6 stones. We didn't see the 7-star awakening gem, not really anyways. And of course, offers did provide still better than average value, but they weren't like absolute, devastating to the people who miss out on it. So that has to be acknowledged. The next thing that we definitely need to acknowledge as well is Necropolis. I think Necropolis is arguably their best event launch, at the very least that I can remember. And Necropolis in itself clearly took a lot of lessons that they did wrong with Abyss and Labyrinth, and they did some adjustments. It's more clear, it's more understandable, I think it's more fair. The final boss doesn't induce some sort of heart failure, and it's much more doable and achievable. And then on top of it all, they did a great job making sure that the community knows it's much more doable, and we have a lot more people jumping in Necropolis right now than I think people jumped in Abyss, because they did a great job making sure the rewards are amazing for like completion and definitely seem worth it, with the mastery point, with the exclusive 6-star maestro, with the 2 to 3 gem. All of that stuff is extremely enticing, and I think is going to also age quite well. So there is clearly significantly more thought, or better thought, has been put into it than it was in Abyss. Because let's face it, Abyss rewards became irrelevant very, very fast, or not worth it, quote unquote. And I don't think that's going to be the case with Necropolis. It's slightly lower difficulty, better selection of rewards, I guess I should say. And then there went and the buzz surrounding Necropolis, all the hype before it. We had obviously everybody constantly talking about it and asking about it. They did a great job generating that. Crypt event where we have our death count being counted and totaled, and it gives community some sort of sense of togetherness, that we're all working together towards a goal, and a lot of people who perhaps would have taken things slower get motivated to go in there and put in their part of the work in order to get the rewards, but also help other people get more rewards. And I think that event has been a brilliant idea. I believe it was Seaton's idea, so that's definitely worth acknowledging. And I hope that we see something similar of that in future, because it's just like a feel-good event. You're all wasting your resources and dying and getting ass kicked, but at the same time, it doesn't feel bad, right? Because you're contributing your part to it. So that has been great. Also, the fact that they gave out Baron Zemo, which is effectively an option for virtually any Paragon player to have a champion that can do the completion run. And that's, working well. Should have been Kate Bishop, but just saying, whatever. And yeah, Necropolis, I think overall has been the best planned event that they have done in a really, really long time. Most, thought out in terms of structure, rewards, content itself. The boss fight's much better. And also, extremely surprisingly, there was virtually no real meaningful issues or bugs when Necropolis launched. The only kind of thing that was bugged was the Grandmaster fight, and yeah, fair enough, it wasted a lot of revives, and I still kind of hope that Kabam is going to send out some revive package to the players who did it while bugged, but, it's not the biggest deal in the world, and they fixed it relatively quickly, so that wasn't like a massive kind of red stain on their event. And, well, there we go. Necropolis and Cyber Weekend, two massive events, two massive W's in a row, in my opinion. And then, slowly but surely, Kabam has been also working in background. Again, obviously not everything is going to be perfect. We still have the issues with the AI. AI is a major problem at the moment. The fights of, when I play Battlegrounds at the moment, I get much more frustrated than I enjoy it. And Battlegrounds in general, I think, are in significantly worse place than they were 4 months ago, because I think Kabam has made a couple of fairly bad decisions in regards to Battlegrounds. Well, number one, the store is getting outdated, so it doesn't seem as impactful anymore. Number two, I don't like where they're going with these offensive metas. It feels like they are telling us what to do and which champions to use, rather than kind of nudging us in a sense. And it has kind of a narrowed impact on, the Battlegrounds gameplay itself. So again, I don't think Battlegrounds is a place for some sort of attacker tactics for decay and these science champions get fury buffs. I think the sooner they get rid of it, the better for Battlegrounds. Again, that's just my opinion. You might like that. And so yeah, I think in that context, Battlegrounds has become somewhat slightly less enjoyable. But at the same time, there is no denying the fact that they are far less cheaters and modders in Battlegrounds than they were half a year ago, because they have been catching them and banning them and getting rid of them. Recently, they did the arena ban wave, where they again reissued the missed out champions. So again, that is the type of area where quite rarely will anybody will stop and say, you know what, they have done a good job. And at large, they have. They had this period around the meetup time, the Battle Realm Brawl time, when seemingly they didn't ban anybody for 2 weeks, and it was immediately apparent. And obviously that wasn't a good thing, but at the same time it highlighted the fact that typically that doesn't happen, and typically there are far less of these cheaters. Yeah, you'll meet some. Yeah, you can always wish for them to be banned faster, but again, undeniably, there are less of them, and Battlegrounds are cleaner. Arenas are cleaner as well. Again, arenas again, is a situation. It's not perfect, but it feels better. Like, as you know, I think 7-star arenas should be coming quite soon. I think the game is there already at this point, and we will have to see how they catch arena up to that. But at the same time, going in arena right now and grabbing yourself a 6-star is significantly easier than it has ever been. And you know, the scores are much more civilized, and you don't have to like take 3 days sleepless grind and just beat. You can kind of grind out a champion and do other stuff. So that's a huge change, right? And champions themselves. We had a period where every new champion released had some sort of bug or bug note to it. Like when Moondragon came, Moondragon and Adam Warlock in the same month, both were bugged and didn't work properly. And then obviously, you know, we had champion rebalance actually being the bug fix for Cassie and Fantman. And that kind of seems to have been tightened upon. So, you know, there's hope for that as well. And lastly, it does feel like Kabam actually has some creativity back. Not that everything's perfect, not that every event will be for everyone, but, you know, having Maestro as a trophy champion, we hadn't seen that in a while. The whole nameless champion thing, that's kind of cool. We see some more smaller and quirkier events happening. You know, Paragauntlet was a great idea for Paragon players without having to grind through another complete set of difficulties. Just a place where you go in and, you know, quickly grab your rewards and do some somewhat challenging fights. I still think that they shouldn't lock it for Paragon players and Valiant players, but, you know, fine, whatever. And here we are. Ultimately, I think they have had quite a few Ws. I like many of the things that they're doing. I'm fully willing to accept the fact that not all of them are going to land, right? Not everything is going to go smooth. And again, there are issues with AI, with like parry and dex and game engine and game economy. I think ISO and gold situation, you know, needs to be addressed, and some other stuff. But we're never going to get to a place where any single one of us is going to sit down and say, like, you know what, this game's perfect. Like, everything's perfect. It's not going to happen. But I wanted to make a video acknowledging the fact that I wholeheartedly feel more optimistic about the game. I think Kabam is making some very good and right moves. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with appreciating it. Let me know what you guys think, and I'm going to catch you guys soon. Bye-bye. Hello there, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about